But I was thinking we should actually revisit this issue of the protests in Nigeria as young people that are, I think all of us have roots in Nigeria, and just express our minds, express our hearts as young people speaking to young people, and see if we can make any sense out of it, and perhaps if we can come to some call to action of some sort to say, maybe we can do this, maybe we can do that. And of course, appraising what has been done so far in terms of the protest and the aftermaths of that and everything. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think the spirit is one because this same thing is something that I just felt we could talk about, but I didn't want to say it up. And I
Mm.
think it's good we talk about it and learn one or two things. And Pastor, I also saw the article you wrote about it as well,
Okay.
as well. So it's a good thing that we talk about it.
So, which angle should we come from? Should we go like each of us making contributions, or?
Should we go like just
Can
like
I
draw out the
can I ask a question that someone asked?
Okay.
Is it good for a Christian to protest?
Mm, I think that's a good. That's a,
Scriptural.
Before we answer the question, I know was asking a question. I
yeah.
was saying
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear Anus. And what did she say?
No, I was going to say that maybe the way we can do the whole SASs, like let's just pick out the issues in there, like each
Oh,
factor,
oh,
because there's the protest, there's the palliative, there's the government, there's the killing. So then we now talk on each, like, I don't know if that will be feasible. Because if each of us should go and talk about the NSAS, we might not pick up on everything. And if that issue comes up again, like it would have, I don't know if it makes sense.
Yeah, that's one way to look at it. But I think if we come from the perspective of the question that Kingsley raised, one way or the other, in defending or undefending whether or not we should protest, we would end up touching on these other issues. I think so. So, yeah, I think that's a question that we can dance around and speak to head on, so to speak, for the next few minutes. Should we protest? Or maybe the first question should actually be, how many of us protested one way or the other? And if you did, how did you protest? What did that look like? Kingsley,
I was on the
okay, go on.
protest ground.
Say that again.
sorry. You okay, yeah?
I was on the protest ground
Okay. There was a protest grant in Liverpool.
in Manchester.
Oh, sorry, I forgot. Manchester. Okay. And how did that go?
I was there. I was stuff like a stationary protest. So people just came to the podium and to the love things they want to say, and yeah, it wasn't like moving around sort of thing, but just in a place.
Dr. Kenneth, so good to see you. Wow. Happy New Year. Happy new decade. Happy new century.
I wish you the best. I wish everyone the best.
Yeah. So good to see
I'm
you.
so happy to see your faces.
Same here.
Dr. K,
happy.
How far now?
Hi.
I did.
Where did they go? Where did they walk out?
Kingsley,
Always on the
stay
move.
for one place.
How far now?
Oh,
Anu, I hello.
I hear too. It's good to see you. Sounds so cool.
I'm blushing.
That's our pastor, Mrs. So.
It's super good to see you.
Thank you.
Good. So we were just about to start talking. We've played a game before you joined to break the ice, but now we're talking about the protests in Nigeria. And we were coming at it from the perspective of asking ourselves, should we be involved in protests? but we backed up a bit to first of all even ask how many of us protested, and if you did, what did that look like? So Dr. Henry was talking before you joined in. So Dr. Henry, back to you. Dr. H.
Yes, I was saying the protest in Manchester was sort of like a stationary protest and just had like a makeup podium where people kind of like share their thoughts with regards to the main issue, police brutality, and a lot of placards and whatever different designs to express people's feelings. To
Sorry to jump in. Who was the protest? Like, did you have an audience? What was the intended audience in Manchester?
okay, so the audience was basically Nigerians as well here,
Okay.
which doesn't, yeah, I know it's a bit because yeah, saying the same
I'm
thing to
just
people that
curious.
already know it. I know, but yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. Good. Kingsley, are you able to talk? You said at least you've said you like protests. You are the only one that has said that officially. So how did that go? Were you involved? If yes, what did that look like for you?
Sorry, I didn't get the question. My earphone keeps going up.
Oh,
What did you say, sir?
I was asking that, did you protest? And if yes, what did that look like? How did you protest?
So
We've not come to
I
the
think,
question of whether or not it is right or wrong or whatever. We're
yeah,
just
yeah.
asking our
But
experience.
for the fact I protested to show that I believe in protest, that's one. Two is that in one way or the other we protested one way or the other. When we are growing up, your mother will cook beans and then you don't hold beans. You squeeze your face and your mother will turn back and say, okay, let me go and cook rice so that you eat. That's a protest.
Which mother did whose mother did that?
That's a protest. So that's one part of it. But I think personally, I have protested when I was in university, against. I don't even know why I protested then. So I think they increased the school fees or something.
School fees increase.
School fees increase. Okay. So we went out on the street, and I went out on the street, and then we kind of said enough is enough. We don't want the school fees increase. Now the reason for protest sometimes, just like you said, when you are asking what Henry was doing, is it a protest against like your Africans, speaking to Africans as well, like protesting against the same Nigerians, protesting against Nigerians. So sometimes I think protest, one of the objective of it is to disrupt things, to bring the attention of the government that you are not happy with what is happening. Yeah, it's just like creating awareness. So when those in Manchester create awareness, those in London create awareness, so it kind of brings the media to portray it, and then people are like, what is happening? And then that will make people to know exactly what is happening. So I've protested before, and that was when I was in Guinea.
Okay, nice. So there was a protest here in Liverpool, right?
There was a protest last week Saturday.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's good. Where did they converge?
It was in is it Nigerian House in Toxteth?
Oh yeah, I've heard of Nigerian House. Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense. All right. Thank you. Who wants to share again? Who protested and how did you protest?
I protested online.
Exactly.
Online.
Via Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, and Instagram. I started when everybody started mentioning the NSAS.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to become armed robbers, so I didn't say NSAS. I was okay. We end police brutality just because I know they respond to shame and ridicule. So I helped to make it louder in my own small way on social media. But after a while, from when the government was talking, they would end SARS because those people are really killing people. They almost killed my husband.
Yeah.
And Jige collected meat that I fried and gave him to go and eat at home when we were dating. That one really pained him. He came to visit my fried meat for him. They took it from him and they put them by the roadside. Tell them they waste them, him and his friend. They waste them if they don't give them cash. They give them 4K. You literally kill someone just to steal money from them and you're supposed to protect them. So, it was a really touchy subject for me, and they're just highly responsible and a reflection of all the ills that are going on in Nigeria. So, yeah, so I did my little bit on social media, and I'm happy it caught the attention of the world. And our leaders don't care about us, but they care about what these rich people in all over the world think. So they start up a bit. So I'm happy at least whatever small voice I could lend via that platform. Yeah.
That's brilliant. Good. Okay. I think Tosin was about to talk before.
Yeah. I've been involved in a protest before. Back then in I think 2004 or 5, thereabout. And it was to the NEPA, as they were called then. Yeah. There was this very poor power supply in our area. It wasn't like something that was really, really planned. We're actually part of the front runner of the protest. Started with I and some of my friends then, just about 6 or 7 of us. And just that morning, I think it was on a Saturday morning, very early Saturday morning, we were just deliberating like, is this how this thing is going to continue? Blah, blah, blah. Let's just go to these people, because NEPA office is just about 30 minutes walk from us. Coincidentally, it's just a few meters from the police station. So we're just like, let's protest now. Let's just go there and tell them and stuff. And we had some set of people whom we look up to in the area, like they were the big brothers in the area. So we saw about 4 of them, like, bro, so this is what we wanted to do. We want to go to NEPA and stuff like that. Like, okay, let's go now. It's Saturday morning. Normal. It's not a working day in Nigeria, and on Saturday morning, okay, let's go to NEPA. It was still very early, I think around 8 o'clock. So like, okay, so we pick up some placards. We're not much, we're just maybe about 15 or 20 of us. So just wrote some stuff like, okay, let's go to NEPA. And before we left our streets, that's gathered momentum, like 50 people have joined.
Wow.
This was on a Saturday, and back then, it used to be like a small community, like we almost know each other, the guys in the area almost knows each other. So like, how far, where are you going to? We're going to NEPA. Wait for me, make I take my clothes. Somebody's pulling on the shirt on me. Let's go now. So before we got to the next street, to the main road, and it was on the highway, on major road. Before we got to the major road, people from the street, people from the market have joined, and that's gathered momentum. And we were in the front because we started the whole stuff, and we didn't know it was going to go that big. And that's one of the demerits of protest, actually, because when the crowd goes beyond what you expect, you lose control at some point, sometimes, because you don't really dictate who joins the protest, who does what and what not. So on approaching the NEPA now, we started hearing people like, some people at the back, like, we're going to destroy this, we're going to do this. So we started saying to ourselves, so we started talking to the big bros that are leading the protest. Some guys have started talking this violent. Let's just change the tone of the youth thing. Like, okay, from the front, we started saying, we are not going to destroy anything. Everybody should just calm down and stuff. So when we got there, they didn't allow us in, but we got their audience. Immediately we were approaching, and they knew it was about them. They shut the gates. The head of that district actually came down, and he gave audience to the big bros in the protest then. Invited them into the building while we were still on the outside. This blah, 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 blah. And after about 15, 20 minutes, we heard the police. And the police was very close to that place, actually. So I and my friends, luckily, we were in the front. So police were coming from the back. So we took cover from a shop, an electronic shop. There was a repair shop very close to that place. We just went to the shop and just asked them that, please, if police just come, just say we work for you. Yeah. And just somebody's getting a tool, somebody's carrying radio, somebody's carrying something, just feel like we work there. So when they came, they took a lot of people to the police station. But the guys, the big boys that led the protest were still inside the building. So when they came out, we went to them like, look who they've arrested some guys and stuff. So those ones, we now went back home. There was a man actually who works with the press, Punch, then. So we went to the man like, see. He went with us to the police station, and back then, luckily we were able to bail all those guys that were arrested free actually. So, and we got the audience, we got their attention, they spoke to us, okay, we are going to do this and that, blah, 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 blah. At the end of the day, everybody went home happy.
That's nice. That's a lovely experience. And I think it's it's insightful in different ways, and we might come back to unpack it. Okay, any other person wants to share about your experience of protests, whether on NSAS or some protest in the past that you've been a part of? Ife, have you protested before? You're muted. Yep.
This NSAS protest.
Okay.
I joined my own by saying, "Oh, let's pray for Nigeria." I didn't know what to say.
Okay.
But the fact is that my own take about it is because my dad has worked for SARS before, and I've seen what they have done. I've seen how it was and how they were so nice and friendly, and how things moved so well for them. So for me, my opinion is it's not all the whole police officers that are in the SARS that way, that are brutal.
Yeah.
And it's not all citizens that want this NSAS to end SARS because of the brutality. They want everything to end so nobody can tell them, don't do yahoo yahoo, don't do this, don't do fraud things and illegal stuff. So for me, this protest is good. It's your right, but just make sure that now that you're killing every police officers, make sure that you do everything with love. And now that they're killing citizens, I don't see how the protest is helping. And I for me, I don't just support it anyways. I don't support it. I don't support it like with the violence thing.
Yeah.
If you make your voice known, like my dad said, like for his own division, they're actually even escorting their people in their area to go and protest. So they have this relationship. If things are like that, it's good. Let the voice be heard. Yes, that's good. But if you're killing, the police are killing the citizens are killing the police, where is it going to? That's why I don't support it. But I prefer if you make your voice known peacefully. It's okay.
Can I say something, please?
Yeah, go on.
I know your dad and your mom are police officers, and they are very, very nice. They are very nice people. But it doesn't eradicate the fact that, just like Titi said, imagine if Uncle Bolaji was dealt with. Probably Titi will not have seen a husband now to stay. And me and my brothers, I remember when we had the approach, these guys approach us. They were all drunk and all that. But some of them, like Ife's dad and mom, some of them are learned. I've seen police officers, especially in NYSC camp, where you see them iron their clothes and you're like, God, I want to be a police officer just because of their presentation and all that. But if you look at SARS, SARS is Special Anti-Robbery Squad. Now, SARS is meant to be against robbery. It's anti-robbery. When SARS came into Enugu, all these boys that used to steal, SARS was killing them. All these cultists that used to go and parade people's houses, nobody spoke about it. But the problem we have now is a situation where a SARS official is leaving his jurisdiction, his job description, and then going to do other things that are not your job jurisdiction. SARS was not created to fight Yahoo boys. It wasn't. It's not part of their jurisdiction. They are doing is special.
But Yahoo boys are also robbing. They are
not. They have they have a unit in the police that are dealing with that. We have different units in the police force. It's not just SARS. We have different units in the police force. Now, these guys, and some of these guys are even escorts or SDs that have gone to rehabilitation camp, and then their brain has been dealt with, and then their government is now using them. So I don't believe that because because I hear people of the school of thought that when SARS is gone, that means that we are going to be having issues with the Yahoo boys are going to be dealing with people and all that. But I don't think it's a. I don't believe in that. I feel there are still intelligent units in the police that you can use to do that. I can't remember the name, but I know that there are even still a unit in the police that their work is to escort protesters. Whenever there's a protest, they are the ones that are in charge of those. This is not the whole police force. But the police itself, the brutality in police is so much. And maybe if Ife can give us because it's good that I forgot that she's even a police officer's daughter. Because we need to understand what is this police, what's their barracks like if she grew up in the barracks. How is life like in the barracks? How is life like being a police officer's child? These are not the things that they want. Sometimes you see them, they are smelling, their clothes are smelling and all that. This is one of the things that we are fighting for. And in turn, those guys they now finish you. A policeman is not even there are a lot of things they are not meant to do. Even checking your papers and all that is not in their job according to their description. It's not meant to be them that will be checking your papers and all these VIO's job. But they do those things because they need to get money. And when they meet people that don't have license, then they will now capitalize on that. So I feel like one of the things that protest has done, and as much as it's taking away, they've disbanded SARS, but I think there are still a lot of job to be done in that police force. A lot of job because they are doing now. Look at they are using police officers to guard VIP people. The one that is not even enough for us in Nigeria, they're using it to guard VIP people. We have a lot of job to do in the force, to be honest. But I would love to hear what the living condition is for a police officer in the barracks to see if what the protesters are saying are right when they say, I know that just like 007 said, Tosin said, sometimes you start a protest a very peaceful way, and then hoodlums will come over to take over the protest and then do it. Happened when I even went to do a protest. We went in Enugu Nsukka Expressway, blocking this and making our voice known, and people were behind us looting bread in Chitties and then other things, going to loot things. And at the end of the day, we all paid for everything that was looted. So in a protest, sometimes you have the good ones that are in front saying their mind and others, and now have the good ones that are behind doing their own thing as well. But I would really want to, I don't think that the protest was not meant to be. I think the protest stood for a whole lot of things about police. Tosin said that bail was free for the people when he went. But there are people when you go there, bail, you have to pay money to get bail. Some people you're owing, somebody is owing you. You go and bring the police force. This is how they've reduced the police force. You go and pick the police force to beat them up for somebody that is owing you. Is that what the police should be doing? Now they are even started using army, and then they are all doing it, and that's why army can hit somebody and nothing happens. So I think the NSAS is talking about police force, a whole total reform of the police force because they are trespassing. They are not doing the job the way they are meant to do. And some of them, and I'll say this last, and I'll stop. I'm telling you the idea. You get me? Some of them, somebody was saying that the IG will give them say you need to remit so amount because they have to buy stationery in the station. You have to remit so amount. This other person will say remit so amount, and then they will put the pressure on the guys that are doing the roadblock. Anytime you're stopping the roadblock in Nigerian police, you're either putting on your best smile. I remember one time I was with NATO, and then we were driving. I just told her, I beg, babe, smile so that the guy will see that I'm carrying a fine girl and then not talk to me anyhow because he may look at my face now and stop me. So you try to, this is not meant to be. It's meant to be if you see a police officer, you get relaxed. But you're scared of them because of the pressure that they are putting there. Sometimes they'll meet you and the next thing they'll start asking you is, anything for the boys, anything for the boys. It's because of the pressure that they are putting on them. So I think that's why the end started, and that's the little I researched about it.
Okay. Thank you very much, Kingsley. That's very passionately communicated. Okay. Before I tweak the question, is there any other person that still wants to share an experience? Titi was raising her hand and Ife too. So let me start with Titi.
Pastor, please, can I go first?
Okay, go on, Ife.
Oh, okay, so I just want to say to what Dr. Kingsley was saying. I understand, like, when everything started, it was all about NSAS. And I feel people only thought about the certain people, individuals, because I know that how do they say the proverbs? I don't know. When quite a lot of number of something is bad, they take everything to be bad, even if there are few that are good. So what everybody took was answers because of the brutality, because of the video that went all around. But now when they started the answers, they started with all the trying to kill police officers, even the ones that are not SARS, even the innocent ones that are SARS. You just escalated like that. I said NSAS, and you started violence to everyone in general. Then you guys, like the protesters, then they went ahead and then they started thinking about it, that okay, these police officers actually, do you know they are suffering? Do you know not all of them are SARS, and not all of them are brutal? Then they started thinking about that. Then they started bringing out things that, okay, let's think about the police officers as well. When things had gone bad, I think there should be a better way that our youth can use to protest, to make their voice heard, to make it known. Police officers are suffering. My parents, even if they're high rank or whatever, the salary they are getting, it's not able to send me here. It's not able to do anything for anyone. It's just because they had to study more. They had to do a lot of exams to do United Nations exam, which is not all of them that can do this. It's not all of them that can go through that process of having to study a lot. There are some of the women that their husband don't even allow them to do promotion course. So they have to stay where they are and suffer in the barracks. Barracks is hard. Youth did not think about all these things. They didn't think about why the police officers. I've given police officers money several times because I feel giving them money, it's not their joy to ask. It's not. What they're getting is nothing. Why didn't we think about all these things before we started bringing all of them into one picture? Why didn't we have to go through another process and say that it's not actually all of them? Why not implicate those ones, pick out those ones? Whenever something happens like that, tell the government to deal with those people in particular. Instead of then everything just kaput like that. Everyone started killing each other. You see some videos, they were shooting a police officer. I know the citizens too were killed. I'm not saying that's right. That's wrong as well. But there should be a better way. Maybe if we had started it, I'm putting myself because I'm a youth. If we had started it better, maybe it wouldn't be like this. Maybe things would have turned out well. I just think.
Thank you. That's nice response. Titi, are you able to talk now?
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, my uncle is a police officer as well, and works as a detail of the Oyo State government people. The thing is, we cannot hold criminals and law enforcers at the same standard. And to compare Yahoo boys and thieves and robbers to policemen doesn't make any sense. You have to hold the policemen to a higher degree of whatever. And the thing is, if SARS people were not killing citizens first, if anybody is being truthful here, you have to push Nigerians beyond inside the wall for them to revolt. we cover everything with laughter and comedy, and we take and take and take and take, and then we can't take it anymore. And then these SARS people, they've killed so many people. When the protest started, I wasn't going to say end SARS. I was saying end police brutality, because common sense tells me everybody cannot be that horrible. People need to feed. People need to still arrest armed robbers. I've been robbed several times. I need to ask for everything. So my own situation is, this is just like you said, it wasn't really about SARS. We're just the arm of the government that were so blatant about it. They really didn't care because of their background and because of the level of training they give them. It's just about go and do your thing. And you're telling us to fish out the bad ones from who are we? Do we know them? They should fish out, they should have a better structure so that they remove the bad eggs within themselves. Else, we're going to call all of them immense youths. Now, if 10 of us don't make sense, please, what is immense? You see, you understand? So my point is, it was about telling the government we can't take this anymore. Immediately that protest started, honestly, I knew it wasn't just about SARS. It is about Nigeria just being, as in Donald Trump's word, a shithole. Excuse my French. So we just wanted a total different reality for ourselves. And this generation, we can't just take it anymore. That's why all of us are going everywhere. Why did you leave? Because you found a better opportunity? Or was it really that? Or just, I beg, anywhere, Malaysia, I'm going, Dubai, let's go. South Africa, I want to go. Mali, Nigerians are running to Mali. So it was just about a total different change. I'm not in support of killing anybody, not even criminals, let alone honorable policemen. Come on, that's not the point. But they cannot ask of us when they are not even given quarter of that. The way Nigerian politicians and everybody else goes about, like they don't owe anybody any explanation. We cannot say they should not, people should not talk. People will talk. People will act, and there will always be all these bad ones that come behind. They should not protect. I've been robbed. I went to the police station to report, and we're like, when you won't give us money on the road, how is that my job? It's not only policemen that are suffering. It's not only policemen that are suffering. It's not my duty to give you tips on the road. Nobody's giving me tips. If you ask for it and I say I don't have, oh, fine, bye. There's this man at my bus stop that I always give as well. He doesn't even need to ask me. I don't have that much. I'm not that flamboyant or anything, but we should not just, we treat everything with sentiments. And we treat everything like it's our village, our little parlor situation. Everything is always with, I know somebody, everything is always, you have mercy. We need this, act like this. There should always be repercussions, but there's nothing like that in that country. We wing everything. So it's not my job to pity a policeman. He should do his job diligently, and the government should make sure he's held accountable if something bad happens. But I'm telling you, year after year after year, they've not done that. The good ones have kept silent until the citizens make all the noise in the world before they make the littlest change. We have to hold them to bigger standards, man. Everybody, the private sector are doing their own. The government and the people, they go to the local governments. They go there in the morning, spread their legs, buy fufu, buy momo, go home in the afternoon. Excuse you.
I cannot.
It's just, we need a change. I'm not in support of killing. Don't hurt policemen. Don't hurt citizens. They killed the protesters first. How many did you see that those ones that want to go and listen to iPhone and listen to music? Do they even have knives, let alone guns, to kill who? Those scary. If I say policeman this, we haven't done anything wrong. I'll go and turn. I don't want that thing to fire. That thing always fires anyhow. They don't always know what happens. It's always misfire. I don't trust them with anything. My uncle is one of them. The first day that I learned my auntie was dating, I was like, hey, what's happened? Policeman. I was so scared for my life. My own uncle. That's how much I don't trust them for anything. Which wouldn't be. We want to trust them. They didn't ask us for anything. The protesters were the ones that brought up this bill. Increase police people's salary. Do this. We are the ones fighting for them. Some of them are now saying, away. These guys are not against us. They want a better Nigeria. They actually care for us. We're not against the police people. We want Nigeria to be better, and that's that. Thank you.
Beautiful.
Can I say something?
Oh God, this topic, seriously, I'm holding myself so much here. Just talk.
Tosin, go on. Tosin, you're muted.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. My own take on the whole NSAS police brutality and stuff. I would say, in my own way and in my own little experience, the protest that started with NSAS and the hashtag NSAS was as accurate as it could be for me personally. It's not about police brutality, even though in the full context it's about police brutality, but it is specific and it was NSAS. I am a party to it because I don't know for how long you guys have been out of Nigeria. My kind of hairstyle, my kind of dressing, and the car I drive does not even help my position, which means I've been in series of encounter with these guys. Now I'll just give you a rough view of what SARS really means in Nigerian context.
Okay.
Now this goes to the ladies and the mothers. Do you know how it feels if you live in your house, me in person, I'm not into any criminal activity, I'm doing a legitimate job, and I'm as responsible as you can think of, and your mother is scared of your life because of SARS? You can't even put outside to go and buy something across the street. Your own mother is scared for your life because of SARS. It is that bad. Morning, afternoon, night, it doesn't have to be midnight. It was that bad. Now, I've encountered SARS different times. Some collected money, some did not. But still, you can say those that collect money by doing the right thing.
From you, okay, it's gone now. It's better.
You can say, okay, maybe some didn't collect money from me, they are good, and the ones that collected money from me, you still need to understand the context of how the SARS man approach you. You can imagine you driving on the highway and a car just crossing you, broad daylight, and you have 5 people coming out with AK-47 in Mufti and pointing a gun at you, right point blank. 5, 6, 7 people on the highway, and it's already causing a scene. And the next thing is get out of the car, kicking you and stuff and everything. And like, okay, try to defend yourself, try to provide all the documents and every other thing that could help you out. But still, in that particular scenario, either they take money from you or not, it's absolutely unacceptable. Anything could have gone wrong. If the trigger goes off for any reason, all they need to do is drop something in your car and incriminate you. End of story. You'll be lucky if your dead body even gets to your parents. That is how bad it was. Now, SARS can stop you. Police have been stopped by SSS and DSS before. Now, my experience with these guys, they were on Mufti. They were driving a normal private car. I did not see any gun when this guy stopped me. Just came out like, okay, this guy showed me his ID card. Like, he'd like to know who I am, where I'm going to, and stuff. I'm like, okay, and I didn't feel threatened. I felt obligatory to explain myself and say who I am to them. And after every other thing, they're like, okay, fine. And they even tell me their mission in the area that we've been in this area for a while. We've had series of this. This is what we are doing, and this is why we have stopped you. I'm like, okay, fine, thank you very much. And I went my own way. Yet, this is just my own scenario. And every other person, my brother has had even a nasty, it's as bad. Okay, now my brother has a different experience with them, whereby for doing nothing, now he's a seafarer like I am. He has a lot of cards on his phone, a lot of complimentary card, both foreign and whatever. And they caught him, he was driving, this blah, blah, blah. They took him to the station. You know that it's as bad as the Deputy Commissioner of Lagos State could not even get him out. To just one man, because he SARS and he answers directly to somebody, not even the DPO in that station where he is, he answered directly to somebody whom I don't know. For doing nothing. For nothing. For doing nothing wrong. Now, if it had gone the other way, which some people have been unfortunate to have experienced it in that other way, maybe they got shot or something, I wouldn't be here saying all these things. So
Okay.
if it was that bad, I'm saying this in particular, SARS, every man, every Nigerian can walk on the street and be stopped by a policeman, and we don't feel threatened. When I'm driving, I'm always making sure I'm stashed up on cash. Any policeman, not because it's oblique, but I know the way things are, and I'm like, oh, after the whole paper stuff and everything, I'll go find something now, take. I know I'm not carrying anything in the community. I know the last thing they can do is I'll go find something, give, take, and every other person. But with SARS, even the money you have is not even enough. It is not enough because the first thing they are trying to check is your bank account, and it's what you have in your bank account that dictates how much they take from you. If you still don't get shot at the end of the day, because the money is too much, they want to take it all and shoot you and find something in community on you, and that's the end of the story. And they account to nobody. Nobody. I mean nobody. So it was that bad. Now, if you ask me, won't I support NSAS? I will, 100%. Now, going to the last one, I hope I'm not taking too much. I'm going to the last one of police not being well kept. We all understand that fact. And almost every job in Nigeria, nobody is being paid appropriately. Everybody's complaining, I'm not paid, I'm not well paid and stuff. Let's look at the credit card, like Titi has said. Before you went to the job, you know how much they are being paid. If it's not sufficient enough, we just need to be frank about it. If it was not sufficient enough for you, why did you take the job to start with? And if you had taken the job and it wasn't okay, we all have options that we could leave the job. And I'm not saying this because I feel it's easy or it's somehow or something. Not really. But it is just the sad reality we find ourselves. I've gone to work for a company where I know they are owing them. I mean, personally, I've made up my mind that they might not pay me. Now, it would be very wrong, knowing the history of the company that they are owing, and I get in there and I'm being owed 2 months and I start making noise that I want to get paid. It would be very wrong of me. If you are known that they are not paying and you put yourself in there, because you understand the circumstance, you should now get in there and after 2 months you're like, these people are owing me and stuff. I knew why I was going there. I knew it wasn't about the money alone. Fine, the bigger objective was to get some experience from there. So even if they are owing me, I'm fine with it. I just need to get the experience and out. Every other work in Nigeria goes that way. Nobody is being paid appropriately to whatever rank or position or whatever they hold. So that's just my pick.
Thank you very much. One thing has been clear from our conversation so far, and it is the fact that this subject is multifactorial. It's multifaceted. There is not just one issue. There are very many issues that are attached to it. Now, I want to see if we can. Oh, this is good. Where Precious is joining as well. Okay, I guess we'll try again.
Pastor,
Yeah.
Pastor, can I just chip one thing in?
Okay.
Everything Tosin said is right, but he forgot to say that they are drunk as well. You know, when they come out from the car, they're always drunk. That's my experience with them. One. Another thing is that I have a friend of mine. He lost his father. His father is a police officer. He lost his father because the father wanted to live a life of integrity, a life of a Christian, and he was blocking them from doing what they are meant to do because a lot of impunity. Just like you said, in every sector in Nigeria, a lot of impunity is there, and they have to kill the good man, who is a police officer, who is a good man. So, in as much as SARS is bad as well, that the whole police as well is bad because a good man like me going into there, my life is not even safe, and so on. So I feel like it needs a reform as well. It's just I just wanted to chip these two things in.
Thank you. So I want us to come back to the original question that we started with and look at all these different sides of information that we've seen, I think, of course, part of what gave NSAS and police brutality, whatever it is, part of what gave this protest the audacity and loudness that it got was because it's piggybacking on Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, and all that has happened earlier this year. If there had not been that, this issue wouldn't have been like this. But people saw that actually social media can cause a revolution of some sort. And so now we are leveraging on that to do something, and that's fine. But now, in light of everything that has happened, the ones we've known, people that have died from police brutality, and policemen that have died from protesters' brutality, and lootings that have happened, vandalizations that have happened, people that have gone to protest peacefully that got fired at and died unnecessarily, and some are still struggling for their lives in hospital. In light of all of that, in light of the dissatisfaction with practically every sector of the Nigerian cosmology, or whatever language you want to use, the economy and everything, let's come back, look, having that wide angle, that big picture. Now let's come back to that question of, as protests, or specifically this recent protest, I don't know if it's still ongoing. I think for the most part it's dying down now. But was that effective? Was that the way to go? If we're going to critique it in all honesty, what would be our take as to what came out of it? So I'm saying, let the end justify the means. We said there is an issue. SARS,
Right? Yeah.
this brutality, corruption in the whole government, because eventually, of course, it went beyond police to the whole government is bad. If possible, let's just delete all of them and find some replacements. Now, in light of all of that, was this bone of contention. Now, look at all the other things that have happened that are associated with that. Of course, including the fact that people did prayer walks and stuff. Now, let's look at it together and then come back to that question of, was it worth it, or do we think we need to, what would be our honest criticism of what has happened? Let me just leave it like that. So Kingsley, you wanted to build the
Oh
cat.
yes, yeah. I have a lot of things to say. I would say that the NSAS protest was successful. You
Okay.
know, it got what it needed. And just yesterday,
Mhm.
the Lagos State Judicial Panel, because every state was told to set up a judicial panel, that people will come and share their sad story, and then they will see how they can help. Now, yesterday I was reading in the news, one of the judicial panel, the SARS people took 43 million naira from the man. But that's another one. Now, they were now investigating what happened in Lekki Toll Gate, and they went to because they said that it's going to be public. They have to show. It's not like, one of the things about the police force and the army is all the persecution is always the secrecy. And that's why sometimes you take it to secrecy and then they let it die, and they will tell you to calm down for a while. Just like somebody alleged that even the SARS, they told them to calm down for a while, let everything calm down before they will start operation again. But that's is not verified. But one of the things the NSAS has done is that now the government now knows that things that they need to deliver. They know that 2023 is not going to be business as usual. One, they also know that the youth, the Nigerian people are now watching them, and the international body is watching them. That is number two. So every move that they have moved in this NSAS protest was expected from them. People expected them to do that, and they did it. So I feel like it was successful, and the judicial panel that was set up, they made sure that it was not politicians that were there, and they made sure it was like youth were involved in it, and those youth knew that they are going to give back. So I think it was successful. And now the protest is not going on now
Okay.
because of hoodlums that have taken over. But what we are doing now is to educate those hoodlums. Now, I was just listening to something, a woman at Arise TV just a few minutes ago, and she said that for the past 7 months, students have been at home. Private schools have been teaching via Zoom.
Mm.
But some of these community schools in the villages, they don't have internet, they don't have no Zoom
Mm.
to do any teaching. That means in the next 20 years, those ones are going to be hoodlums. And then the ones that are intelligent are going to be the ones speaking the English. How fair it is? No, it's not fair. So what I feel like is that the hoodlums now, what we are doing now is to teach them, to tell them we are fighting for you, you know. And then lastly, that I want to say is, all the while I've been reading the news, maybe all the while the majority of the things I've seen that no policeman was killed by protesters. What happened is this: when a policeman shoots a protester that is peaceful, they gather at him and they kill him. In Okija, there was a man, the DPO of Okija in Anambra State. He shot a peaceful protester. He killed 2 protesters. The harm in turn beheaded him. That was how bad it was. Just because they were telling him, "We are fighting for you. We are fighting for you." So I feel like some of those things, and now the government has set up a trust fund for the police force. These things are things they have said they would do. So I think that if this protest hasn't continued, if the massacre hasn't happened and all those things, some of these things wouldn't have been in place. But now they know that the world is watching, United Nations is watching, and the International Criminal Court is also watching. And Sister Ano is also watching them. So if they mess up, we have people to sue them.
Okay, thank you. On a personal note, Kingsley, do you know anybody that lost his life in the course of this protests, like personally?
No, I don't even know much people that went for the protest that I know. But some of the reporters in the hospitals that have confirmed there was this one that came in with injured people, and the hospital confirmed, oh, that one person already died from there. So as I know that the government is trying to downplay that it's not a massacre, that a few people died. But the question is, must people even die at all? That is one question.
The reason why I asked that question is, I mean, what you've just, the feedback you've just given, the critique is valid. But I'm wondering how the mother that has lost 1 or 2 sons would critique the protests that you have critiqued to be successful. That's why I asked that question. Like people that have lost family members, I wonder what they would think of this, and if they would feel like their children or their parents, as the case may be, were heroes that died for a new Nigeria, or what they would feel in terms of all of this. That's why I just thought to throw that into the mix. Okay, Sister Titi.
Okay. I don't want to say that. I probably won't say it's a failure or a success. And left to me, I won't start that kind of whatever. But what I'll do is I'll try to actively, I'm always passionate and agitated about this thing. But I try to insert myself into the situation and make it better. But I don't know the wise man or wise woman that said evil persists when good men or good people do nothing, say nothing. So when people are saying end SARS, I did not just jump, bash, end it. I said end police brutality. We don't want them killing people. We want them to be more responsible. So that's my own goal. When the word that started getting out, important people started calling the government, what is going on, allowing them to sit up, because really we know they don't care. That made me say, yes, end this police brutality, reform this thing, let the country be better. So me, I won't get black or white. There's probably a gray area. What was the alternative? Don't say anything, just sit down, stay in that penury and foolishness. No. It's better that we let something. It's not okay. It is not okay. Nigerians are they like it is well. It is well. Everything, it is well. We need to take responsibility. But I don't know about this the way they went about it. I don't know if I would have bought. But that those people went there, they were not fighting just for themselves. They're fighting for me. They're fighting for the whole country. You know, yeah. People were dying regardless. So let's not.
Okay. Ife, yeah.
Yeah. For me, my take is I think it's also good that Nigerians made their voice known, but I would have loved it to if it was more peaceful and if it didn't make people to lose, their loved ones, breadwinner of the family, and if it didn't make police officers as well to be panic while they're driving and going home, to be in panic, and when they're at home and there's something bad, they're like, so. I would have loved it if it was that, and I don't know if it's a success anyway, because Nigerian, for me, I think the system itself needs a good transformation. So I think if there can be something done to our system, maybe I would say that it was a success. But if there's nothing different, like what Kingsley said, there are some of these police officers that if they say ta, you will go to one village like that and be the DPO in that village. Or the system in its own is bad. Yeah, so we shouldn't say a negative word because we love to pray for the country anyways. So, but I hope something changes with this. I don't know if there's anything, but if something changed with the system, then that's good. But it's sad as well because they lost a lot of people. It's very sad. So I wish it wasn't like that. And yeah, thank God if something changes.
Yeah, Oga Kenneth, it will be our pleasure to hear your royal contribution. Let this fresh face give us the fresh voice as to what you think about all of this.
For me, I would say that I go with what Ife said, because successful, saying that the protest is successful, this themselves, everything was successful. To me, it's relative because if I lost someone, I wouldn't describe it as being successful, no matter what. You understand?
Sure.
I would be very sad if I lost someone very close to me because of the whole thing. But notwithstanding, the reason for the protest, the answers protest, was to have a better system of policing and everything. But in the process, some people probably lost their lives, and when I see the videos, when you guys were talking, I was just remembering some of the videos I saw online, and it brought back the memories I felt last week when people were, whatever. So I felt really bad, and I don't know how these people, how the members of their families will be, because it didn't affect me directly. Doesn't mean that some people are not actually going through a lot now with their people. So success in this context should be relative, or should I say, relative. If something good comes out at the end of it all, which I don't really know because you know how this country is. So they might be going back and forth. They might fix it for a few months, and before you know it, everything. So I don't know. I just feel like at a point that people should know when to draw back. There was a point in the protest when the government said, okay, we're going to do something. Something of that nature. Maybe, okay, they changed it to EndSWAT, or, they got to their attention, and then imposing the curfew in Lagos at that point in time. If I was the one, even if I was protesting peacefully, right? At that point, knowing the way the country is, in terms of violence and everything, I would draw back. which I think a lot of celebrities did, you know. So, but then it is what it is. Right now, I don't I don't know how to define if it was successful or not. Because if someone lost their life, for me, right now, I would prefer that we don't call it success next time. So that's just my own. I don't think it is, because we can achieve these things. We should be looking at ways to achieve these things without hurting other people, or maybe someone being a hero. We mustn't always make people heroes and just to, whatever. So the world should have been going past this kind of stuff for us to describe something as being successful. So we cannot call something a success when we're still what we're trying to end or whatever is still happening in our very before, and it's not like it has stopped. You understand? So, I mean, that's what I have to say.
Okay. Thank you very much. Sister Anu, you've been the quietest version of yourself that I've seen in any mass youth meeting since forever. So can we hear your thoughts on so far so good?
The reason, so for the first question, the reason of the whole NSAS thingy, I don't have enough facts to know whether what we're actually pursuing and protesting against is true. We've heard stories of people, we don't know whether they've added things to it or not. The fact that the SARS, they're uncontrollable. But if you can, I don't know if you can help me. Are they regulated? Like, do they report to someone in police station or something? I don't know how they work.
Yeah, it's rank by rank, so they get to report to someone. So like the DPO, like if you're the DPO of a whole division, you get to report to the area commander. So like if for one particular area, there should be like different police stations around, and there will be someone controlling that police station.
So in
as
each
a divisional police officer.
Is the SAS team in each police?
For like SAS is different actually. Like the section is different. Like SAS Ibadan now, there's a particular place they have like the office, but no matter how it is, they also have a divisional police officer. So which will definitely as well, if anything is happening, they report to him. He reports to the area commander.
Reports to the commissioner. That's the thing. That's what actually that was the part where I know that they're unruly because I've had my brothers talk about them. But the fact is they're still under government control in a sense. Yeah. They're still being controlled by someone that we can't see, but we can only see their
manifestation
in a sense. But I think the protest actually was effective. I don't know what success would be. Effective in the sense that if we have a group that unruly and we have a government that backs them fully, regardless of the death and everything they've done, nothing less this can make any change. Nothing less this can disbar them. I don't understand the first point, and however the killings, it's unfortunate. But it had to happen for this to happen. It had to happen for them to be disbarred. Nigeria wouldn't disbar anything. Nobody, my dad won't go. No guy will come and talk to another DPA to say disbar them, and they disbar them. So the media effort and things, they were very effective to destroy those kind of groups. We don't know, as like Kenneth said, we don't know if after 7 months or before 4 months they'll come back. But for now, it's effective. I think for the first time in our history, in Nigeria, we made a protest and something happened. But the thing is, we are like Oliver Twist, we always want more. So the first thing we wanted was this SAS to not be. And they said, okay, we disbarred them. Like Kenneth said, they did something, but no, we said, no, you're wrong. They have to clinical, they have to start doing this and that. And that was when it got out of hand. And I do understand that part. Okay, I've said that, yeah, I've said that. The what I wanted to say again is, we don't understand the workings of this social protest. Say, for example, I'm taking us away from Nigeria. When Syria protest happened and they wanted to overthrow, was it this? I don't know what his name was. SAS something. The president, they wanted to overthrow him. The whole protest started with Western countries backing the protesters. Sometimes we see a good cause, like what Tosin said. The initial stage of the one you did, the Nepal one, was straightforward, but then it got out of hand. Sometimes we fail to see that some of these protests are backed by these Western countries that I don't like. They do it so much that, okay, from law perspective, from what I've read is, so a country, how do they call us? A third world country start to protest, and the Western countries, they sit back thinking, oh, we won't do anything. Then it gets out of hand. Then they organize a UN, this Security Council, they are big council. They have a meeting and say, oh yeah, we need to help Nigeria and send our armies there. Help Neo, that's what they did for Syria. Then they send their armies to our countries, yeah? They help. But then they sit in the country, they sit and they start talking to our government. We just had our 60th independence. And now we're calling for international powers to come again and start, because if they come and help, they won't help you like that for free. I'm just saying that obviously the protest, and I'll calm down now, the protest and everything we've done is okay. But the thing is, we need to streamline it to be that it's a national thing. It's a national effort rather than international, because when international people come, they start to sanction us. They will say, they'll put sanction on guns, they'll put sanction on oil, and it's all for their benefit and things like that. So that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to say that, Alva, it's effective. Well, it's sad that people died, but this guy should not come. People are protesting for a government to go. Why are you sending armies there? Why are you now building a base in their countries to stay? You've helped, then get out of it. The thing is, if a war should start, they're trying to infiltrate all countries, in my own opinion. I think I have this conspiracy. Conspiracy theory in my head. Like, they're trying to infiltrate all countries. Like, if a war should start, you can't say you are an ally to an enemy country. Your own don't catch you, because they're in your country, they start to kill you from there. They don't have to fly from France. They're already there. And they're trying to do, but that's what I think. I think I watched too much of them political.
I know you're very correct. See,
I think
I'm
you're
waiting for that to happen before I don't trust them. I don't trust them from now. They're already in bed with our leaders. They are the ones they're selling all our things to now, our natural resources. They always put their mouths. So this thing we're talking about here, I trust them as far as I can throw them, and I can't throw them very far. They're right here. I do not trust them at all. So I understand that, but we cannot remove the fact that these people are very scared of them, and they respond to them, they respect them as an international coalition, whatever. I'll be the first person to carry a placard that said no if they're trying to enter bus from London to Nigeria or whatever they're entering. I'll be the first one to say no. I do not. Right now, they've not even said that. I really, if you understand, gosh. The politics they play, the games they play on the minds of the people. My own is our leaders are now stupid. That was what started with them selling 10 able-bodied men for one umbrella. We're very mesmerized by things that we've not seen before, and then we degrade ourselves. The problem is with us. I do not blame anybody for my problems or for the problems of my country, but I understand what you're saying. Definitely, we don't want anybody invading us, but which brings the question I want to ask, because the thing that I've been hearing for a long time before this protest came up was actually separating Nigeria, dividing Nigeria. So I hope we can talk about that in the future. But one of the things I mentioned then was when people were doing these debates back and forth, please, Sudan that separated how many years ago, they are still fighting and killing themselves. When they killed Gaddafi, Libya, Syria, like I've always asked those questions. I really don't trust these people and the help they say they are giving. They always have an agenda. Nobody gives you free something. They're like, devil, eat something, give me 50 back. So yeah, I really don't trust them when it comes to that. But I hope we can talk about this in the future. Do we want to do our land? Do we want Biafra? And are we praying for Nigeria? What's the way forward?
That's interesting. I'm looking at the time and we need to land this now. Obviously, we can't finish addressing everything that needs to be addressed, and we'll probably need to continue this in the next meeting. I want to see how to possibly help us at least temporarily tie together all these different threads that we've we've teased out in this tapestry of a beautiful story called Nigeria. I know. Go on.
Dr. Henry and Neto haven't spoken.
Yeah, I'm coming to them. Let's take them first. Actually, Dr. H, any additional thoughts?
I'll just say one thing, so I don't spread the time. I think once we all address symptoms and not the actual problem, I think NSAS is a symptom of whatever. Mm-hmm. So I think it's high time we start like addressing the problem, not the symptoms. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have other things, but yeah, I'll just stop there. And second thing I would say is that I think Nigerians need to start respecting humans. Mm-hmm. Doesn't matter like who it affects, but if it's a human being, it's like respect the fact like that is a human being, and we need to like address that. Because as someone pointed out, I went to a suit and Enugu State University of Science and Technology. It was 90% cultists and 10% normal people. So one of the ways they actually like eradicated cultists was to bring some well-looking soldiers that I've never seen in my life before. Basically, the South guys, when they came into our town, if you are found to be a cultist, or if you're recommended to be a cultist, your punishment is death. Like they burn you. But to me, it doesn't matter like how bad you've done. I don't think it's the right way to go about it. Again, people will argue like, they're cultists, they deserve to die, but all of us as soon as the Bible says that. But I think if he's a human being, he needs to like respect the fact like he's a human being. And
Thank you very much. Sister Neto, if King David is not maybe you're free to talk.
What I have to say is thank you. What I have to say is that I have always been in support of the NSAS movement and protests. Initially, it was supposed to be a peaceful protest, but then hoodlums, whatever, paid thugs had to make it look so violent and everything. But it gained an impact. Yes, not really fully, but at least something. Like normally, this thing would have died down. Like if the protesters didn't really push this far, the bad things that have happened during the protests would have just died down. Can you imagine something that happened like last week? They're still talking about it. They're still trying to address it, even till today. It's something that normally in Nigeria, when evil things happen, they just try to cover up and then that's the end of it. But I'm happy that we lend our voice and then people around the world heard those, and then the government and other people that are in authority had to sit up to do something. So that's what I have to say.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm glad that, and I know many of us are still pregnant with many other things to say, but I'm glad that we've had an interesting conversation, and I see it as a start in a sense of conversations that we need to have. Part of where I was hoping that our conversation will lead to would be for us to begin to critically reimagine how the change that we all desire for Nigeria can come through that wouldn't necessarily involve as much violence as this protest route has gone. And that would basically be boiling down to the question of, on a very practical, SMART goal type, achievable plan, what can I do here in Liverpool, in Manchester, in Nigeria, wherever we are scattered all over the world. But what can I do in my context now, practically? And maybe over the next few months, over the next few years, I mean, do we even see ourselves as still a part of the story of Nigeria? That's another question. I'm just posing this as different questions for us to begin to tease out and think and ponder about. And to come to that place of what can I do? We've protested, we've done this, we've used social media, we've said things, some of which we probably would look back and felt like that was a little bit unchristianly to have said, but yes, and we've had some impact, we've had some results. And unfortunately, some people are in pain, some people are mourning, some people are struggling. Now, let's hold all of that in balance and then look inwards and say, myself as a child of God, one, myself as a Nigerian, two, and the two should go together. Myself as a Nigerian Christian, living wherever I am, what can I do? And when I bring in the Christian bit, I'm not necessarily saying it's just all about prayer or it has to be something spiritual, but I'm saying whatever you're doing it, of course, as an ambassador of Christ. But what can I do? And I would really love to hear our thoughts about that. It's not a question I would want us to sweep under the carpet. This is 8:53. To end on a sort of positive note, as we started our conversation, I remember that in 2012, I participated in Daystar Leadership Academy. Daystar is a church in Lagos. I think most of us would know about Daystar. And they had this, they've always, our set was like maybe the 9th set or something. So they've been running Daystar Leadership Academy for years as of the time. And then they started this branch that was, they called it Advanced. And it was basically, that one was tailored towards general overseers and pioneers of businesses and things like that. And I was able to enroll thanks to some of my Destiny friends that sponsored me. I wasn't a general overseer, I wasn't a business pioneer. I was the youngest person in my set. But I remembered we had one lecture on the dynamics of vision. And interestingly, because of course, this is an advanced package. So we got all the slides, we got all the materials. And I went on my Google Drive now, was able to spot the slide for that. And I wanted to show us just a few pictures. After the man that took us on dynamics of vision had spoken a lot about vision and the dynamics of vision, he decided to give us a picture of what Nigeria could look like in 2035. And he put that in some interesting slides. And I'm just going to share a few of those slides with us, just to give us something to finish up with before we go to see statistics pictures that would actually be the thing we'll be wrapping up with. So I'll share my screen and just imagine together a Nigeria that could look like that. So it says Nigeria 2035. Ajegunle Towers. Imagine in Ajegunle in Lagos now having such beautiful, lovely towers. Imagine having a low-income housing estate in Nigeria that looks this well furnished. I mean, this looks like some studio flat in New York. Imagine Oshodi in 2025, which is just 4 years from now. I mean, this slide was 2012, by the way, so it's quite a while.
Iyabeji restaurant.
Yeah, imagine imagine Iyabeji restaurant, and I mean this kind of lovely mega city kind of Oshodi. Imagine public primary schools, not private school, public primary schools looking like this. Imagine us having Ajegunle Towers looking like the Twin Towers of Dubai. Imagine Mushin looking like that. Imagine Lagos. Imagine Katsina, so that we are not just talking of the south. Imagine Katsina General Hospital. They said Katsina, it should be Katsina actually. Imagine Onisha Bridge looking like this in the next 4 years. Imagine, what's this? Residential buildings in Ibadan. That kind of looks like Cocoa House in Ibadan. Imagine Lekki Resort, the same Lekki where people were unnecessarily killed, unjustly killed. But imagine Lekki Resort 2025 looking like that. Imagine Bayelsa looking like this. And on and on and on in the educational sector, having well-furnished classrooms, equipment, state-of-the-art equipment in the health sector. And I like this. Imagine a typical policeman, member of the police force in Nigeria, having access to this lovely machine, amazing machine, like one of these programs Joshua will see on CBBS. Imagine River States looking like that. Imagine abundance of food. Imagine Takwa Bay in 2025, Bukuru Estate, Odinjo Mega Park in Ibadan. And you could just go on and on and on and on. The guy just, I mean, imagine Nigeria Embassy where white people are flocking to Nigeria Embassy to apply for visas to come to Nigeria. Imagine all of those things. And then we went on to how to receive a vision, which I won't get into. But I just thought to give us those images to make us see that, okay, this is more than SARS. This is more than police brutality. And that's why it looked like even when they said SARS was disbanded, it naturally went on to more. And there will always be more. We didn't walk into what we are as a nation in 2 years. In fact, the story of Nigeria, there's a new documentary on Netflix, and if anybody has access to Netflix and you're able to see that before our next meeting, that would be great. There's a new documentary on Netflix that is titled The Story of Nigeria, something. That's the subtitle. I can't remember the making of Nigeria, something like that. And this, of course, documentary went as far back as hundreds of years before now, I think as far back as the 13th, 14th century, to begin to trace the story long before the the slave trade, before we start talking of colonialism and all of that. It gives you a picture of where we are coming from. And of course, that kind of history of all sorts of things that are inconceivable. You won't expect that you can fix that, all of that, by a protest in October 2020. It's not going to work. So I'm saying that on the one hand, I want us to know that, and now I'm beginning to, this is 9 o'clock. Nigeria is special in God's heart. I'm persuaded of that statement. I believe that there is still hope for the nation, and I believe that part of a fraction of that hope is represented on this screen before me. And I want us to start thinking, where do I come in? What can I do? Where does God want me to give expression and contribute my quota? And let's think through that. So when we come together next meeting, by then there's a short, it ended up not being short. I've been working on a book. That's part of my own contribution to all of this. When this whole thing started, I started working on a book. There's a Facebook post I wrote in 2010 where I just compiled some prophecies about Nigeria that I saw here and there. And in the light of what has been happening, that post has been reshared again and again, and is my most shared Facebook notes back in the days, and Facebook is stopping notes now from tomorrow. So I went back to that, and then I, of course, started gathering many other things, and there's this anthology of prophecies and thoughts and essays and things different people have said about Nigeria and the way forward. So I've put that together, and I will share it on the group when it's fully available, hopefully in the next couple of days, for us to also look through and just scan through. That can also add a layer of thought to what we would think about and talk about when we come together next meeting. But yeah, should we pray before we see Sister Titi's videos, or we should?
I just want to say one thing.
Okay, to say.
Sorry, no disrespect. Just
say that again.
No disrespect, just a word of caution.
Yeah.
To every one of us, we should be careful about the information that we're taking. There's a lot of information and misinformation.
Mm-hmm.
Personally, I will not go and watch the history of Nigeria on Netflix as a person. Okay. If I'm not grounded on those information, I will not take those information from Netflix about my own country. I rather want to go back online, search some history of Nigeria, into Nigerian history.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of manipulation, especially from the media. It is real. Media control and media attack is
absolutely
real. Sometimes you see people sharing some posts like this is happening now. And when you look at the history of the post, you see that it's like 4, 5, 6, 7 days ago. And if you are taking that first information like this is happening now, and you have taken it in, you start having that impression, and it goes on and on. I'm just saying, it might not be the Netflix stuff, but whatever information we are taking in, there is a lot of misinformation.
Absolutely. When I recommend resource, I'm not recommending them in the name of they are the authority. I'm recommending them because I believe that we are all critical thinkers. And so part of why I actually wanted us to see that is so that we can critically reflect on what is there. And of course, this is not even a Western, this is the history of the making of Nigeria by Nigerians. It's not some white people doing something for us. It is we ourselves researching into our history. So what you would spend 5 years gathering on your research on the internet, at least to a reasonable extent, has been synthesized into that. And of course, my current line of study in African Christianity has made many of those things are not new information to me. I come across those in different readings. So I just thought it's something that can throw in some, especially for someone that has not read much. It's something that can give you bite-sized information that can help you see, at least to a reasonable extent, a bigger picture that we have not considered in that sense. So yeah. Let's pray. Let's say a word of prayer, and it's praying for Nigeria today. Whatever issues is going on in our lives is embedded in the fact that we are Nigerians, and I trust that God would touch on all of those issues with us, and then we'll smile and laugh at PTT's pictures and stuff. Father God, I remember a song my friend gave a testimony with about the time he wanted to apply for a visa to come to the UK. The song was, "You've got the whole world in your hands." And indeed, we know you've got the whole world in your hands. Nigeria is in your hands as much as every other part of the world is all in your hands. And I'm asking, oh God, that you can see our hearts, you can see how passionate we are about desiring to live in a nation where we can be proud to associate. And we are just asking that it will not be an empty dream or an empty vision, but that you would make that a reality and make us a part of the story. You will help us to begin to see that which we can do, which might seem small, which might seem large, whatever it might be, that we can begin to come to that awareness and do them, to receive together the birth of a new Nigeria, to receive together a future and a hope. Jeremiah 29:11 says, "For you know the thoughts that you have towards us. They are thoughts of good, they are not of evil, to give us a future and a hope, to bring us to an expected end." We all have an expected end for a glorious nation, beyond the 2035 that we've seen in the slides, beyond the glory in those fictional images, to what you really desire. And we're asking, oh God, that nothing shall hinder it. And Lord, we remember those that are hurting, those that are mourning, those that are grieving, those that have lost people, especially in the last 1 month, in the last protest and all of these things that have happened, those that have lost properties, those that have lost things. We're just asking, oh God, that you would bring restoration, you bring comfort, you bring healing. You will help us as a nation. The oil, the balm in Gilead will find expression all through Nigeria and its diaspora in the name of Jesus. And Lord, you know our hearts and our situations, and we're just asking that your blessings will rest upon us all in the name of Jesus. We thank you for the month of November, because it's going to be even better. We'll have better testimonies than we've shared in October in the name of Jesus. Thank you, Father, for in Jesus' most significant name we've prayed. Amen. Amen. Thank you so much. Sorry for taking a little bit of more time. And I think we'll just pick it up from here next meeting, based on whatever things we've thought about. We'll just see and try to land it on what can I do, what can you do, what can we do make things better. And if you find any resource that you find useful, you can share it on the WhatsApp group. Let's go through it together. The blog that Kingsley was talking about, I'll also share the link to the WhatsApp group for us to, for anybody that would like to read. God bless us.